And welcome back to another episode of Off Script. And before I even get into the video here, I just want to give a shout out to you guys, the viewers, for watching these videos lately, for subscribing. It really means a lot to me, especially starting off here. And don't forget to, if you like these videos, like the video, subscribe, and because we got a lot more coming out. Tailgating, going to these games. I think it's a very enjoyable kind of video, and I think you guys will like it. But going on here, game of the week. Week 4. Can't believe we're already here, but we're rolling. We're rolling. We're getting into really the chunk of the season now. These teams are starting to get their identities, so it's interesting to finally kind of really pick these teams. But so I'm gonna go over some honorable mentions before I get to my game of the week. We got Texas Tech, Utah, which I thought barn burner in the Big 12. Oregon State, Civil War. I got to throw that one out there. It probably will be a blowout, but shout out my boy Ram back home. And then Auburn, Oklahoma. Mateer, another opportunity to kind of raise that Heisman campaign. Illinois, Indiana, Big Ten grind right there. And then the game I'll be at this weekend, Florida, Miami. I think it's going to be a great game. Kind of an opportunity for Lagway to really get back after a 5-interception game. Just, get back on schedule. So it's also a rivalry game, so it'll be interesting to see. But game this week for me, my game of the week, Michigan at Nebraska, 3:30 kick. Michigan currently a 2.5 favorite. So basically kind of a toss-up here. It's going to be an interesting game. Always sold-out crowd in Lincoln, so I'm really excited for this one. So starting off here, let's talk about Michigan. On the road without Sherrone Moore. Interim head coach Biff Poggi did pretty well last week. That's all I got to say. He called Bryce Underwood Batman, which, in my opinion, I am a little bit of a comic book superhero nerd. So if you're going to call someone a superhero, probably pick someone with powers. It's just the Michigan brain, but we'll get into that later. But Biff Poggi's interim head coach did a pretty good job. Like I said, just absolutely routed Central Michigan. But it is interesting to think about. The new suspension rules make Sherrone Moore not be at practice at all. So that is something to consider when thinking about this game for predictions in this game. You're thinking, all right, so Sherrone Moore's not even involved this week in practice. It's all Biff Poggi. So that is something that is a little bit of a concern to me, but at the end of the day, it still is Michigan. There's more than just one coach that makes this team operate, but it's the players at the end of the day. I was very impressed with this Michigan team this past week because coming off a loss, it's very easy for a team to completely kind of turn on each other, especially a loss on the road in Oklahoma. Kind of turn on each other, feel like damn, like point fingers almost. That's not what happened here, and it's not the case here. And this is great to see. I want to zone in on Bryce Underwood because he's finally running the ball. I mean, Biff Poggi finally said he just got the green light. And I don't know if they were worried about him getting injured. I don't know if they were kind of easing him in, but this kid's a freak athlete. Why are you not? If you're not doing this in the Oklahoma game, where was this in the Oklahoma game? That's my question. Where was this? Underwood had 9 carries for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I may add he was also the leading rusher for Michigan, which is crazy because they run the ball so much with Justice Haynes and all the stud running backs that they have. He also threw for 235 yards, 16 for 25, and a touchdown. So great day at the office for Underwood. I had him as my, most outstanding freshman standout in my week 3 superlative. So good for him. I'm excited to see if he can kind of go into Lincoln this week. Second on the road start. So let's see if he can, finally kind of put the pieces together. It's a tough environment. It's hard. For this specific game against Nebraska, I expect that run-heavy game. I really do. It's the bread and butter. Why would you leave it? That's mainly my big key for this is just establishing the run. And then looking at this game against Central Michigan, it was a very run-heavy game. And then again, that is Michigan's bread and butter, so it's not a great surprise. But I do expect that to be kind of the game plan against Nebraska. And that does move right into my keys of the game real quick. First key for me is just winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. But looking at the offense, currently 15th in rushing offense, so there's not an issue right there. Just coming off the ball and, who's kicking whose butt right now. That's just what it comes down to when running the ball, especially if you can kind of get Bryce Underwood involved in this game too. I know they did in Central Michigan a little bit more. And like I said, he was a freak athlete. He's running people over. He looks athletic for how big he is. It's impressive to see. But that winning the battle line of scrimmage and driving that Nebraska defensive front back. That we just need to get push. I think it would be a successful day for the Wolverines. And then looking at the defensive side, they're 25th in rushing defense, so still pretty highly ranked. Coach Martindale, the DC for Michigan, really showing that pressure, and he does a really good job showing that pressure. So it'd be interesting to see if that Nebraska O-line can handle that pressure. They are a veteran group, so they have seen it before. But I think it's going to be a big test for them, especially if they want to be a college football playoff contender. Next key to the game for Michigan is just not forcing throws. Watching the film for Bryce Underwood, he's still young, so he still thinks he can make these super plays like he's in high school or something. So don't force it if you have to. Just be smart, take the check down. You don't have to throw it into triple coverage. Just or run the ball, or throw it away, like I said in past videos. Just don't force the throw that needs to be there. Just be smart with the ball. And then my third key is just not giving Dylan Raiola time in the pocket. This kid can make plays. He's compared to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, not talented, obviously, but, physically looks like him and sometimes makes plays like him. But this kid is good. He's definitely talented, 5-star recruit coming out of high school, can make plays. I mean, last year, it was freshman year, he's learning. But this year, I mean, he's off to a hot start, looking pretty good. But just getting him outside the pocket, getting him a run. When he gets a little flustered, he's prone to make mistakes. He's not a crazy good athlete either. He's kind of a little heavy on his feet. So just getting that pressure, getting him to scramble a little bit, I think that defensive front will really be able to just kind of gobble him up a little bit. Pause. But, overall, I think if you can do that and get him out of the pocket, if they can continuously do this, I think it's going to be a tough day for Dylan Raiola and, definitely a positive for the Wolverines. Moving on here, let's get into Nebraska. This is kind of their first real test to see if they're legit. I understand there's that year 3 with Matt Rule, kind of a conspiracy a little bit. I understand there's some proof there, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can. I understand you could argue Cincy week 1 was a test, but at the end of the day, Cincy's not a high caliber team like Michigan. So if you're thinking about playoff aspirations, this game this Saturday, it hangs on this. So winning these games will get you there. That's just plain and simple. But let's dive in here a little bit. Currently 5th in the country in passing right now. So definitely doing well. I know they haven't played a crazy good competition, but it doesn't matter. Like if the offense is humming, it's humming. Protection up front has been very good. Matt Rule's very, very happy about it. Raiola has been very good. From what he has been last year to what he has been now, he's just continued. It's almost like a flow chart. He's just going up, man. He's looking really good. Looks really comfortable in the pocket compared to last year. I'm really impressed what he's doing right now. And then he's just making smart decisions, and he's learning from last season. I think that's a big thing. I think last season he, almost like Underwood this year, is he's got that high school mindset where he thinks he can make plays by just, improvising and just slinging the ball downfield and hoping his receivers, it's not high school anymore. It's just college. It's a different level of ball. So I think he's definitely making big steps of progress to be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. A big thing in this game is Dylan Raiola needs to be able to identify blitzes and fake coverages. Coach Martindale, DC at Michigan, is just really big on the pressure on the quarterback. So Raiola really needs to be able to handle the pressure. Same with that O-line. Same with the running back, too, and just picking up the blitzes. But Raiola especially, handling the pressure, making throws with people in your face, being able to, all right, let me just check down real quick, and just, identifying a pressure, helping out your O-line with calls and stuff like that. I think that would be a game changer if he can get that done. And my keys to this game for Nebraska are pretty simple. First off, like I just said, Raiola just needs to look at the pre-snap clues, looking at the disguised blitz, the fake coverages. and then confirming by the post-snap cues. So maybe a safety drops back or linebacker drops back or currently mugged up, then he drops back. I think if Rayola can do that in real time, obviously he's going to be watching film all this week, so I don't have too much concern about this. But in real time, it is a completely different animal just to be like, okay, this is happening, this is happening. I need to motion the receiver in. I think that the little bit of motioning and, different formations will be a great asset for this Nebraska team. Number two, I feel like stopping the run is just going to be monumental for this Nebraska defense. I think this is almost an Achilles heel for Nebraska. They didn't do it too well in the Cincinnati game. Their quarterback ran almost 90-something yards all over him. And then Bryce Underwood just ran for 114 yards last week. Not to mention they also have Justice Haynes running there. So, being able to stop the run, kind of taking out their identity, because once their identity is gone, what are they going to rely on? That's my question. So stop the run. That's big. And then the third thing for Nebraska fans, you need to make home field advantage be the difference. I mean, there's 85,000 people. It sells out every game. So make that be the difference. It's probably going to be more just because of the magnitude of this game. I'm excited to watch this, and it's a later game. It's not a noon slot, which you got to love. And I love for these players. But, the noise is definitely going to make a difference. It did against, Oklahoma for Underwood. And we saw how that game played out. So bringing noise, making it hard for the Michigan offense to communicate, I think that could also be a big factor in this game. But overall, looking at this game, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up for me. 2.5-point spread towards Michigan. I just think this Michigan run game is going to be too much for Nebraska to handle. With that being said, I am going to go with Michigan in this, probably 20-17. It's going to be a low-scoring game, it is. But Michigan will get it done, and I think they're just going to keep rebounding from this Oklahoma loss. But, yeah, Michigan gets it done in the end. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for the support. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Heading to Miami this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But this is Off Script. I'm Zak Herbstreit. Thank you guys for watching.